Well, hello. Thank you for joining us. This is the True Crime and Wine Couple. But as you can see, it's just me, Pete, today, trying to do something a little bit different. We thought since the big decision in the Delphi case is coming up on January 18th, we thought maybe it would be a good idea to sort of revisit where we've been to up to this point. And we thought a great place to start would be with the PCA, the probable cause affidavit, and also the Frank's memorandum. So we thought what I thought today what I was going to do is just read to you the probable cause affidavit. I haven't read this in a while, so I think it's really good to sort of revisit that, to just sort of get us going in that direction, because I really do believe that this year there's going to be a lot of, I think the Delphi case, the Richard Allen case, is going to be the one front and center this year, especially if Baldwin and Rozzi are put back on the case. If the Supreme Court says that they should be back on the case, I think that's going to speed up the trial. So hopefully we will be seeing that this year. So this is just a good way to get back into it, just for, I guess, thinking about it again. Now, also, as you know, we are all about wine, but however, I am all about whiskey. So since Mary's not here, I thought I would do this reading of the PCA with my favorite whiskey, which is a Black Irish bourbon from a distillery near us. It's in Whitehaven, Pennsylvania. The distillery is called Holy Ghost Distillery. Really, really good whiskeys. They also have a lot of other alcohols that they do, but I am a big fan of their whiskeys. This particular Black Irish whiskey, funny story, or not? No, let me rephrase that. Not a funny story, a sad story, but the story behind it. When we first went to this distillery, we did a tasting, testing all of their whiskeys. But this particular whiskey was not on their tasting menu because it was one of their more expensive whiskeys. So they just, it's not available for tasting. You could buy it by the glass, but we just did a tasting. And Mary's father really likes the high octane whiskey. So they had this one. This one is actually 116 proof. So we thought this would be a great Christmas gift for him. Then he had some health issues, went into the hospital, and they told him no more alcohol. So there went our Christmas present for her father. So I was like, all right, well, if we can't give it to him, let me try it. I tried it. I loved it. And this is what I've been drinking for a while now. So that's the story behind this. So let me just open this up a little bit. It has this nice cork in it, which is a little different. And we'll pour this, and we will start with the Richard Allen PCA. I am just going to read it start to finish. I'm not going to comment. I am not going to insert anything. We will do that at a later date. There's a lot of good information in here that I think is, and I read it a while ago, but then when I reread it, I'm like, maybe there's something more to this than I had originally thought. So, we'll get your thoughts on it, but here we go. This is the Richard Allen probable cause affidavit. So the state of Indiana versus Richard M. Allen. I, the undersigned affiant, submit the following information pursuant to IC 3533-7-2 as a sworn affidavit setting forth the facts and circumstances known to law enforcement of Carroll County as the basis for probable cause to arrest without a warrant or to establish probable cause for issuance of an arrest warrant for the above named defendant. Oh, also, let me just say, before we get into this more, there's a lot of redacted stuff in here. So when I get to those points, I'm just going to say blank, because that's literally what it is. It's just a blank on the page. So I'm just going to say blank, just so you know that that's what I'm doing. Those are the redacted names in the affidavit. The facts and circumstances described below would be sufficient basis for a person of reasonable caution and prudence to believe that the accused has committed or attempted to commit the offenses described, and that if arrested without a warrant, such would be authorized under IC 3533-1-1. That the hearsay statements of witnesses contained herein are considered reliable and credible due to the witness's personal knowledge and or are corroborated by the totality of the circumstances. That on February 14th, 2017, Victim 1 and Victim 2 were found deceased in the woods, approximately 0.2 miles northeast of the Monon High Bridge in Carroll County. Their bodies were located on the north side of the Deer Creek. At the time, the Monon High Bridge Trail was approximately 1 mile gravel trail terminating at the Monon High Bridge. The Monon High Bridge is an abandoned railroad trestle approximately 0.2 miles long, spanning the Deer Creek and Deer Creek Valley on the southeast end of the trail. Approximately 0.7 miles northwest on the trail from the northwestern edge of the Monon High Bridge is the Freedom Bridge, which is a pedestrian bridge spanning State Road 25. Approximately 300 feet west of Freedom Bridge was a former railroad overpass over Old State Road 25, also known as County Road 300 North. The trail terminates just west of the former railroad overpass. The majority of the trail is in a wooded area with a steep embankment on the south side of the trail. The entirety of the trail and the location of the girls' bodies were and are located in Carroll County, Indiana. Through interviews, reviews of electronic records, and review of video at the Hoosier Harvest Store, investigators believe Victim 1 and Victim 2 were dropped off across from Mears Farm at 1:49 p.m. on February 13th, 2017 by blank. The Mears Farm is located on the north side of County Road 300 North near an entrance to the trails. A video from Victim 2's phone shows that at 2:13 p.m., Victim 1 and Victim 2 encountered a male subject on the southeast portion of the Monon High Bridge. The male ordered the girls, "Guys, down the hill." No witnesses saw them after this time. No outgoing communications were found on Victim 2's phone after this time. Their bodies were discovered on February 14th, 2017. The video recovered from Victim 2's phone shows Victim 1 walking southeast on the Monon High Bridge while a male subject wearing a dark jacket and jeans walks behind her. As the male subject approaches Victim 1 and Victim 2, one of the victims mentions gun. Near the end of the video, a male is seen and heard telling the girls, "Guys, down the hill." The girls then begin to proceed down the hill and the video ends. A still photograph taken from the video and the "Guys Down the Hill" audio was subsequently released to the public to assist investigators in identifying the male. Victim 1 and Victim 2's deaths are ruled as homicides. Clothes were found in the Deer Creek belonging to Victim 1 and Victim 2 south of where their bodies were located. There was also a .40 caliber unspent round less than 2 feet away from Victim 2's body between Victim 1 and Victim 2's bodies. The round was unspent and had extrication marks on it. Interviews were conducted with 3 juveniles, blank and blank. They advised they were on the Monon High Trail Bridge on February 13th, 2017. They advised they were walking on the trail toward Freedom Bridge to go home when they encountered a male walking from Freedom Bridge toward the Monon High Bridge. Blank described the male as kind of creepy and advised he was wearing light blue jeans, a really light blue jacket, and his hair was gray, maybe a little brown, and he did not really show his face. She advised the jacket was a duck canvas type jacket. Blank advised she said hi to the male, but he just glared at them. She recalled him being in all black and had something covering his mouth. She described him as not very tall with a bigger build. She said he was not bigger than 5'10". Blank advised he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. She stated he had his hands in his pockets. Blank showed investigators photographs she took on her phone while she was on the trail that day. The photographs included a photo of the Monon High Bridge taken at 12:43 p.m. and another one taken at 1:26 p.m. of the bench east of the Freedom Bridge. Blank advised after she took the photo of the bench, they started walking back towards Freedom Bridge. She advised that that was when they encountered the man who matched the description of the photograph taken from victim two's video. Blank described the man she encountered on the trail as wearing a blue or black windbreaker jacket. She advised the jacket had a collar and had his hood up from the clothing underneath his jacket. She advised he was wearing baggy jeans and was taller than her. She advised her head came up to approximately his shoulder. She advised Blank said hi to the man and that he said nothing back. She stated he was walking with a purpose, like he knew where he was going. She stated he had his hands in his pockets and kept his head down. She advised she did not get a good look at his face, but believed him to be a white male. The girls advised after encountering the male, they continued to walk across Freedom Bridge and the old railroad bridge over Old State Route 25. Investigators spoke with Blank, who advised she was on the trails on February 13, 2017. Video from the Hoosier Harvest Store captured Blank vehicle traveling eastbound at 1:46 p.m. toward the entrance across from the Mears farm. Blank advised she saw 4 juvenile females walking on the bridge over Old State Road 25 as she was driving underneath on her way to park. Blank advised there were no other cars parked across from the Mears farm when she parked. She advised she walked to the Monon High Bridge and observed a male matching the one from victim two's video. She described the male she saw as a white male wearing blue jeans and a blue jean jacket. She advised he was standing on the first platform of the Monon High Bridge, approximately 50 feet from her. She advised she turned around at the bridge and continued her walk. She advised approximately halfway between the bridge and the parking area across from Mears farm, she passed 2 girls walking toward Monon High Bridge. She advised she believed the girls were victim 1 and victim 2. Video from the Hoosier Harvest Store shows at 1:49 p.m. a white car matching Blank vehicle traveling away from the entrance across from the Mears farm. Blank advised she finished her walk and saw no other adults other than the male on the bridge. Her vehicle is seen on Hoosier Harvest Store video at 2:14 p.m., leaving westbound from the trails. Blank advised when she was leaving, she noted a vehicle parked in an odd manner at the old Child Protective Services building. She said it was not odd for vehicles to be parked there, but she noticed it was odd because of the manner it was parked, backed in near the buildings. Investigators received a tip from Blank in which he stated he was on his way to Delphi on State Road 25 around 2:10 p.m. on February 13, 2017. He observed a purple PT Cruiser or a small SUV type vehicle parked on the south side of the old CPS building. He stated it appeared as though it was backed in as to conceal the license plate of the vehicle. Blank both drew diagrams of where they saw the vehicle parked, and their diagrams generally matched as to the area the vehicle was parked and the manner in which it was parked. Blank advised he remembered seeing a smaller, dark-colored car parked at the old CPS building. He described it as possibly being a smart car. Blank vehicle is seen leaving at 2:28 p.m. on the Hoosier Harvest Store video. Investigators spoke with Blank, who stated that she was traveling east on 300 North on February 13, 2022, and observed a male subject walking west. Not sure about that date there. and observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 North away from his Monon High Bridge. Blank advised that the male subject was wearing a blue-colored jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. She further stated that it appeared he had gotten into a fight. Investigators were able to determine from watching the video from the Hoosier Harvest store that Blank was traveling on CR 300 North at approximately 3:57 p.m. Through interviews, electronic data, photographs, and video from the Hoosier Harvest store, investigators determined that there were other people on the trail that day after 2:13 p.m. Those people were interviewed, and none of those individuals encountered the male subject referenced above, witnessed by the juvenile girls, Blank and Blank. Further, none of those individuals witnessed victim 1 and victim 2. Investigators reviewing prior tips encountered a tip narrative from an officer who interviewed Richard M. Allen in 2017. The narrative stated, Mr. Allen was on the trail between 13:30 and 15:30. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. He noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. He stated there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge trailhead, however, did not pay attention to them. He did not take any photos or video. His cell phone did not list any IMEI, but did have the following: MEID-256-691, 463, 100, 153, 495. MEIDHEX-9900, 24, 70, 25, 797. Potential follow-up information. Who were the 3 girls walking in the area of Freedom Bridge? Investigators believe Mr. Allen was referring to the former Child Protective Services building, as there was not a farm building in the area, nor had there been. Investigators believe the females he saw included Blank and Blank, due to the time they were leaving the trail, the time he reported getting to the trail, and the descriptions the 3 females gave. Investigators discovered Richard Allen owned 2 vehicles in 2017, a 2016 black Ford Focus and a 2006 gray Ford 500. Investigators observed a vehicle that resembled Allen's 2016 Ford Focus on the Hoosier Harvest store video at 1:27 p.m., traveling westbound on CR 300 North in front of the Hoosier Harvest store, which coincided with his statement that he arrived around 1:30 p.m. at the trails. Investigators note witnesses described the vehicle parked at the former Child Protective Services building as a PT Cruiser, small SUV, or smart car. Investigators believe those descriptions are similar in nature to a 2016 Ford Focus. On October 13, 2022, Richard Allen was interviewed again by investigators. He advised he was on the trails on February 13, 2017. He stated he saw juvenile girls on the trails east of Freedom Bridge and that he went onto the Monon High Bridge. Richard Allen further stated he went out onto the Monon High Bridge to watch the fish. Later in his statement, he said he walked out to the first platform on the bridge. He stated he then walked back, sat on a bench on the trail, and then left. He stated he parked his car on the side of an old building. He told investigators that he was wearing blue jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood. He advised he may have been wearing some type of head covering as well. He further claimed he saw no one else except for the juvenile girls he saw east of the Freedom Bridge. He told investigators that he owns firearms and that they are at his home. Richard M. Allen's wife, Kathy Allen, also spoke to investigators. She confirmed that Richard did have guns and knives at the residence. She also stated that Richard still owns a blue Carhartt jacket. On October 13th, 2022, investigators executed a search warrant of Richard Allen's residence at 1967 North Whiteman Drive, Delphi, Carroll County, Indiana. Among other items, officers located jackets, boots, knives, and firearms, including a Sig Sauer Model P226 40 caliber pistol with serial number U625627. Between October 14th, 2022 and October 19th, 2022, the Indiana State Police Laboratory performed an analysis on Allen's Sig Sauer Model P226. The laboratory performed a physical examination and classification of the firearm, function test, barrel and overall length, measurement, test firing, ammunition, component characterization, microscopic comparison, and NIBIN. The laboratory determined the unspent round located within 2 feet of victim 2's body had been cycled through Richard M. Allen's Sig Sauer Model P226. The laboratory remarked, "An identification opinion is reached when the evidence exhibits an agreement of class characteristics and a sufficient agreement of individual marks. Sufficient agreement is related to the significant duplication of random striated impressed marks as evidenced by the correspondence of a pattern or combination of patterns of surface contours. The interpretation of identification is subjective in nature and based on relevant scientific research and the reporting examiner's training and experience." Investigators then ran the firearm and found that the firearm was purchased by Richard M. Allen in 2001. Richard Allen voluntarily came to the Indiana State Police Post on October 26, 2022. He spoke with investigators and stated that he had never allowed anyone to use or borrow the Sig Sauer Model P226 firearm. When asked about the unspent bullet, he did not have an explanation of why the bullet was found between the bodies of victim 1 and victim 2. He again admitted that he was on the trail, but denied knowing victim 1 or victim 2 and denied any involvement in their murders. Carroll County Sheriff's Department Detective Blank has been part of the investigation since it started in 2017. He has had an opportunity to review and examine evidence gathered in this investigation. Detective Blank, along with other investigators, believe the evidence gathered shows that Richard Allen is the male subject seen on the video from victim 2's phone who forced the victim down the hill. Further, that the victims were found down the hill by Richard Allen. Further, that the victims were forced down the hill by Richard Allen and led to the location where they were murdered. Through the statements and photographs of the juvenile females and the statement of Blank and Blank were at the southeast edge of the trail at 12:43 p.m. east of Freedom Bridge at 1:26 p.m. and walked across the former railroad overpass over State Road 25 after 1:26 p.m. and before 1:46 p.m. They walked the entirety of the trail and observed only one person, an adult male. Blank vehicle is seen on Hoosier Harvest Store video at 1:46 p.m. and leaving at 2:14 p.m., and she stated she only saw one adult male. Blank and Blank described the male in similar manners, wearing similar clothing, leading investigators to believe all four saw the same male individual. Investigators believe the male observed by Blank and Blank is the same male depicted in the video from victim 2's phone due to the descriptions of the male by the four females matching the male in the video. Furthermore, victim 2's video was taken at 2:13 p.m. and Blank saw only one male while she was on the trail from approximately 1:46 p.m. to 2:14 p.m. Investigators believe Richard Allen was the male seen by blank, and the male seen in victim two's video. Richard Allen told investigators he was on the trail from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. that day. Video from Hoosier Harvest Store shows a vehicle that matches the description of Richard Allen's vehicle passing at 1:27 p.m. toward the former CPS building. The clothing he told investigators he was wearing matched the clothing of the male in victim two's video and the clothing descriptions provided by blank and blank. A vehicle matching the description of his 2016 Ford Focus is seen at or around 2:10 p.m., 2:14 p.m., and 2:28 p.m. at the former CPS building. Through his own admissions, Richard Allen walked the trails and eventually hiked to the Monon High Bridge and walked out onto the Monon High Bridge. A male subject matching Richard Allen's description was not seen on the trail after 2:13 p.m. Investigators identified other individuals on the trails or CR 300 North between 2:30 p.m. and 4:11 p.m. None of those individuals saw a male subject matching the description of Richard Allen on the trail. Furthermore, Richard Allen stated that he only saw the girls on the trail who investigators believed to be blank. Investigators believe Richard Allen was not seen on the trail after 2:13 p.m. because he was in the woods with victim 1 and victim 2. An unspent .40 caliber round between the bodies of victim 1 and victim 2 was forensically determined to have been cycled through Richard Allen's Sig Sauer model P226. The Sig Sauer model P226 was found at Richard Allen's residence, and he admitted to owning it. Investigators were able to determine that he had owned it since 2001. Richard Allen stated he had not been on that property where the unspent round was found, that he did not know the property owner, and that he had no explanation as to why a round cycled through his firearm would be at that location. Furthermore, he stated that he never allowed anyone to use or borrow the Sig Sauer model P226. Investigators believe that after the victims were murdered, Richard Allen returned to his vehicle by walking down CR 300 North. Investigators believe he was seen by blank walking back to his vehicle on CR 300 North and with clothes that were muddy and bloody. Blank, along with investigators, believe the statements made by the witnesses because the statements corroborate the timeline of the death of the two victims as well as coincide with the admissions made by Richard Allen. Further, the accounts relayed by blank and blank are similar in nature, and timestamps on photographs taken by blank correspond to the times the juvenile females said they were on the trail and saw the male individual. Okay, so that is the Richard Allen PCA. There's a lot in there. And again, honestly, after reading it again, I think there might be a little bit more in there than I originally had thought. So that is interesting in my brain to process that. But moving forward, we are going to, or I am going to read the Frank's memorandum. And we would like to get all of this accomplished before the January 18th Supreme Court hearing, where hopefully at that time we will get some indication on what is going to happen moving forward. So again, please comment on these videos. We want to hear your thoughts. Subscribe, like, and please hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever we do upload a new photo. So for that, have a great evening, and thanks for joining us.